Hi, welcome back to Sam and Sunny's Cooking Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make simple, same-day, no-knead bread.
Seneca is going to start by showing you how to make the dough, and then I'll take over later for the finishing touches.
Here are the list of ingredients you'll need to follow along. Alright, to get started, we're going to start with 1 cup of lukewarm water in a bowl with 1.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Pour that in there, and then measure out our yeast. Just sprinkle it in. And then we're going to add just about a teaspoon of honey to kind of get it started, and also add a little flavor. And then you can gently mix it with a spoon, and then let the yeast bloom in the water for about 5 minutes. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes, and now I can see the yeast blooming. So this is kind of what it looks like. The yeast is coming up to the top and it's expanding and getting bigger. It's also kind of letting off a scent that smells like warm bread almost. Next, what we're going to do, adding into our yeast and water mixture, is our 2 cups of flour. I'm using unbleached flour, just white flour. This could also work with like a whole wheat flour, but this is what I had in my cabinet, so this is what we're using. So 2 cups into the bowl. And then on top of that, I'm gonna be adding about 1/2 tablespoon of salt. And this is a really simple bread, there's not much to it, so extra salt will go a long way. Now just mix it gently until everything's incorporated. The best part about this bread is that you don't need to knead it at all. Really, you're just mixing it until everything is incorporated. The dough seems to be well hydrated from the water. I'm going to show you a close-up of what this looks like when it's done mixing. So you can see everything's mixed together. I really just mixed it until everything came into a ball. It's pretty sticky, but that's all right. And then you can set it off to the side in a nice warm area for a few hours and let it rest.
It's been about 2 hours now, and our dough has, it's doubled or even tripled in size. And it's got a nice little bubbly texture to it as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of try to fold it over itself to form a better gluten network, and also just to help when transferring it into the pan we're gonna cook it in. It's very sticky, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. So don't be discouraged, although it can be kind of tough to handle at times. Now that I've worked the dough a little bit, I'm going to transfer it into the pan that we are going to bake it in. We line this pan with tin foil and oil it up a little bit. It's probably best to use parchment paper, but we didn't have any parchment paper, so I'm just gonna dump it in. It doesn't have to be perfect, because we're gonna let it rest for another hour in here and it'll kind of figure itself out. I'm back, and we've given this bread another hour to rest. So now it's time to get it in the oven to start baking. But first, I want to give it a little bit of flavor. So I'm going to drizzle some olive oil and rub that in just to kind of keep the top crispy. Next, I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of salt. Just get pretty good coverage on that, and since it expands a little bit in the oven, try to get the edges nice too. And additionally, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of rosemary. Sprinkle it as evenly as you can. So now it is ready to go in the oven. We have the oven preheated to 400 degrees, and we are going to put it in covered for 20 minutes before removing the cover and baking for an additional 20 minutes. Here we go. Our bread should be done now, and it smells amazing. Oh yeah, look at that. It's dark brown on the top, very crisp. You need to make sure to not cut into it right away. It can just ruin the texture of the bread, and I would suggest to cool it for at least 1 hour. But since it's getting late here, we are just gonna let it cool overnight and have some toast with our breakfast.
Alright, it's the next morning and our bread has cooled completely and I think we're ready to try it. Go for
It
it.
actually looks really great and has a good like texture in the middle for a no-knead bread.
Yeah. Mmm.
I think this is better than the last time we made this bread. It almost has the beginnings of a soury taste, like a sourdough.
This time we added extra salt, which was nice, and the extra rosemary on top really just like makes the flavor stand out a lot. I think this would be great toasted with butter, or you could even make a sandwich. Maybe like a grilled cheese would be really good with this too.
Give it a try and let us know
Yeah,
how it is. Thanks for watching.
thanks.